Sports is about to come up. It's that time, man.
It's time for the new sports. We be grunting and wearing our new jock straps, and they come in new pastel colors for the modern football players who still sting. Sorry. I was working on it.
That is sick.
The new jock straps and pastel colors are out there. I know. It makes you cough just thinking about it, doesn't it?
Okay, please, you guys, excuse me. I really am trying to stay on point here. Okay, check it out, man. What was more popular? If you had to start off with a subject, which one captivated you more, Mario? The college football games, which, of course, pointed towards the first BCS poll, the NFL games, or the playoffs in baseball? Which topic did intrigue you more?
Baseball was never in there. Poor baseball.
That's right.
Poor baseball, the orphan child of broadcast sports now.
Let's go.
No one gives a shiznit, but
Okay.
that's okay. No, it was really about waiting for Sunday's games, but the college games were wonderful because I wanted to see Oregon.
Right.
I wanted to see Ole Miss.
Right.
So they got me watching games that I would never have even been watching, Vic.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to, for the first time, I actually was curious about the BCS standing.
There you go, man. See, now and everybody knows that the BCS is waiting for everybody to popularize them by talking more about them. If you don't get no talk, you get no walk. And the reason why we're suffering with baseball is because it doesn't get the walk, because we don't give it the talk. All right, here we go. BCS, what does it stand for, Mario? Very simple. Beyond common sense. All right?
But isn't it a computer, Vic? Are you impinging?
Impinging? What is impinging?
Are you attacking? Are you somehow seeking
You're talking to urban folks sometimes, man,
Are you trying to say that the BCS is not cool?
No, I'm not saying
it's the computer, Vic. It must be good if it's computerized. Mustn't it?
Well, I like why you takest thou down this directioneth thou Yoda.
Open the door, Hal.
All right.
Hal, open the door.
Okay, check
Remember,
it out.
computers always do what's best for you. Think of all the wonderful computers that have always, in fact, the IRS, I understand. It's like the Matrix.
Right.
So I'm just saying.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, welcome, you guys. Here's sports. The thing that we say in new sports, we always say the newness in sports is because sports is a sexual deviant and attraction, and everybody mostly knows this, not only through your junior high school, college, and career. It surrounds you all the time, and it's just endemic in our society. So there you go. New sports. Now check it out. BCS. All right, here it is, Mario. The new BCS polling. Everybody was talking about Boise State. They were all over Alabama at the beginning of the year saying, no doubt, this is the team. Oregon was getting the compliments, but the Pac-10 usually doesn't get a lot of love. Okay, we got all this. When you look at the BCS poll, the first one, there are only 3 teams that actually came up that basically matched the coaches poll and the BCS poll. No problem. I'm not going to discuss whether it's a good or bad thing, this BCS thing. All I'm just going to ask you is this. Do you agree first with the top 10 standings? Do you see any team that shouldn't be there or overranked first? Because right now everybody knows Oklahoma caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah, but Vic, okay, first of all, for those who don't really realize it, they actually flip-flopped it. I had to actually print it out to look at it, Vic.
Right.
The BCS has Oklahoma number 1,
right,
Oregon number 2, and Boise State number 3.
Yes, sir.
The coaches poll that just came out has Oregon number 1,
right,
Boise number 2,
right,
and Oklahoma number 3. So Oklahoma actually flip-flops,
yes,
even though they still have the same 3 of them in the top. So, there is a real question here. I think I'm going with the coaches.
Okay, now everybody thinks that the way I couch this, that I'm going in a certain direction.
Well, it seems like you were just trying to attack the integrity
I would never
of the BCS
I'm an honorable
beyond
man.
Common sense system.
Hey, look, remember, I didn't make the image. The image was there for me to snatch. Okay, I'll give credit where credit's due. Check it out, Marv. This is the part that most people don't realize. The BCS computer system is really calculated through the last game of that particular Saturday, throughout the night, and the next day, then they take all the numbers and tabulate them. Here's the thing that blows me away, the coaches poll. The coaches basically have to vote on teams that how would they know how well they played unless they watched all the games? So all they do is take the final score and cast their vote. So although you may not like the BCS
and the games they watch,
and wait a minute,
even though you don't know how much they watch.
Well, no. This is something that has been somewhat factual. They know that. They actually sit there and say, "Okay, you got to go watch. Here it is. Your team just played on Saturday." After that, between Sunday, which is 24 hours later, it's like that's almost how much time before the new rankings come? Maybe a day and a half. They're going to watch what? How many games of other teams that they're not playing fully to determine how well they play? Okay, so which one is more accurate? The coaches or the BCS formula?
Well, okay, and I'll play the devil's advocate. That's only if you're assuming that accuracy is related to that parameter.
Well,
because maybe accuracy isn't. Because see, if you say,
right.
In other words, you just assume because you said accuracy.
Well,
accuracy means the ability to identify what is the top team again.
Well, that's accuracy is like you picking a good woman for you on your next date.
Well, because the same issue. Because then your accuracy might be in question. For many of you, for example, you might consider a good date because you got over. Those of us watching might say,
"What's get over?"
No,
what's get over?
No, you might have. In other words, you might have went out with a woman of questionable character, and it looks like very much a sure thing to you. Right. You might think that that's good, where the rest of us. So then, therefore, the accuracy involved in that would be in question, right?
Well, I agree. The last date I went out on, the woman was of ill repute,
and the statistics said she should have been better. Well, let me tell you what some of the things that were interesting that I observed. One, they asked Oklahoma linebacker Travis Lewis, right? And he said that they don't hit, and I quote him, "We don't deserve to be number one. Put Boise State, Oregon, or someone else up there. Let us work our way up." But then also in the same article, they mentioned that in both of the polls, Vic, you have Oregon followed by Boise.
Of course.
In the BCS, Oregon followed by Boise, just they started with Oklahoma.
Right.
And the coaches, you have Oregon followed by Boise, but Oklahoma's at the end. So they put that in. They also put that in there. So, again, because the exact methodology of the BCS is always in question, the methods of how they come up with this.
Well, I agree with you. The part that makes it so interesting is that we usually look at the polls right after the game of a top team that has been defeated, not from number one, or who actually was an upset. So the part that I look at is the BCS poll is interesting because it doesn't look back and say, well, here was Alabama for the first few weeks. Here was Ohio State first before them. And you say, okay, now they take into account that they lost. And I said, so that basically says, well, what formula was used to say we're letting you know that they're going to lose because our formula is not that accurate? No one saw Oklahoma coming as being a number one team. They saw them as a good team. They saw Oregon coming. They knew Boise State was going to play to its competition. But Oklahoma jumped over everybody. And I said that formula wasn't even looked at. And how did it get to that part?
I don't know.
Everybody missed it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you read the articles, like the comments and stuff, that's what they're always fighting about. Is what is this methodology? Even though most of the people say they were glad that Ohio State got sort of moved out, but then they go to this whole question of the validity of it. And Vic, but they debate exactly what you say. What's amazing is though, as much as at least they're seen to be in favor of the computer.
Yes.
It's interesting to read what the fans, I'm not sure the fans agree with you. I think the fans appear to not like the BCS system and to like the coaches.
I don't like the BCS system. I hate it.
You just think it's better than the coaches?
Well, the reason why I say that is that the one formula that they don't take into account, that they can't take into account, is head-to-head competition. And what I mean by that is when you have several undefeated teams and you do the best to say, well, this one is more undefeated and better than this one who's less undefeated, but they haven't lost any games and is not as good. I said, you don't realize until you go head-to-head competition. There's no formula to factor that in. So I'm not for the BCS system at all. Really.
Well, maybe not for now, but here's what. Maybe not for now, Vic. In other words, what's good about these statistical systems is that they tend to learn in a strange kind of way. In other words, once you do, the longer you do them and you compare where they're inaccurate,
Right.
then you're able to make adjustments
Right.
so that they tend to get better with time. So they at some point in time,
Right.
I really expect that because they'll learn which
Right.
which parameters are inaccurate.
No,
and
I
they'll
agree.
weigh them differently.
I tell you what, I have a suggestion. Let's do this. Let's have a BCS column next to the column of their formula that predicts these teams based on the formula that who they will win and lose against in the next game. So that way we can say it's easy to look
so
at.
we can bet against it.
Yeah, in other words, I
Let's
want to be
have
able
them
to
make a prediction, and we can bet on it,
right?
And we can maybe even apply it to Dancing with the Stars.
There you
or
go,
something like that, and we can bet on all of it.
Yeah, let's see how
gambling
accurate.
revenue.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
See, look, all I'm
with
saying,
you.
it's easy to take the data hey,
Afterwards,
wait,
right?
Yeah,
let's see you predict who's
let's
gonna
predict
win.
it. If BCS is so strong,
Hey,
give me a prediction column that's on the side of your formula, and then I'll take that and weigh it with your prediction.
But Vic, even though that may not correlate, by
that
I mean it's interesting. The abilities to predict games may not correlate
That's okay.
with your ability to assess who's the number one.
I'm gonna give you an idea here. I watched the column, man. Black Chaos, what's up, man? You know I never
I
forget
saw
you.
Chaos.
I see you out there, and he's right. Strength of schedule.
What's happening, Chaos?
We talk about it, but let me use this formula.
He's more common than Mayhem.
I like this. You're wrong. In high school, in national high school football, I love that they have what they call these ratings. One is like the Massey rating and whatever. You know what they do? They actually go out and predict the score of the next game, which makes it interesting to see how accurate it is to compare how they resulted in the next game. I love the idea that they're doing that. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm going, at least they're using that human formula. Well, use the BCS to do the same thing. Predict this next team's game. I think it makes it more interesting. An argument creates more conversation. It's not perfection, but reactionary Monday night or Monday morning quarterback football is not going to help me, so I'm not for the BCS if they can't give me a column of prediction. It's always after the fact. Predict the next game outcome.
Well, that's why I'm so impressed with this other human way of factoring that's come out recently in the press. For example, Duke University, the lacrosse team, now has been actually indexed by a female who slept with the whole lacrosse team. She has it in there now with their penis size, how well she rated them. So now, without any doubt, those people attending Duke, you can know a lot more accurately what you're going to get.
You're wrong.
Because this young lady has used the human factor.
Right.
And one thing she knows is the Duke lacrosse team.
You're wrong.
And she can, so if you have any doubts, she'll be able to tell you which player is going to get it on.
You see this.
That's why I like it.
Look at the
so that shows you there was no computer there, was it, Vic?
No, it wasn't.
You couldn't have got that on Facebook.
Real-time data.
You had to get that from a real female
There you go.
who did the lacrosse team at Duke. And let's go get that data.
Next subject. After that closing argument, I have already said we should free all the hostages.
Sausages. Free all the sausages.
Free them all.
We want all the sausages to run free.
Right. All right. We got to run into the next one. How, you're crazy, man. How about them big head Cowboys, man? And now, I'm going to make this real simple and fast. You know where I'm going with this. Okay. Instead of going over how they won or lost, instead of getting involved in how many turnovers they had, instead of getting in how well they played defense and held the Vikings to only barely 200 yards in total offense, basically giving the game away, throwing an interception at the last stage of the game, forget all that. Everybody watched the game. We saw what we saw.
I thought the coaches were mellow and happy.
Wait, that's not helping.
I think, weren't you impressed by his calmness?
I was.